Am I the a-hole for not wanting to live with a newborn? In May, my 23 male brother Louis, 16 male, shocked us all by telling us that his girlfriend, 16 female, was pregnant. Our parents were far from supportive. After many arguments, my mother made him leave and our father refused to take him in. Since last August, he has lived with me and my housemate, Alex, 23 male. He doesn't pay rent, but will pay me for groceries. In January, the baby was born. My nephew lives primarily with his mother, who Louis sees every day after school, and on the weekends he comes to my flat. This was not something Louis ever asked me about. He just turned up with a baby, and it has been a nightmare. He cries all throughout the night, keeping me and Alex up. He smells rancid and spits. He causes more washing up than we've ever had to do before, and there are no benefits to having him in the house. After a month, I decided that this has to stop. Louis will have to just spend a few nights a week at his girlfriend's house to spend time with his son, but he can't keep bringing him to mine. He was unhappy, but reluctantly agreed. Despite this weekend he turned up with a baby. Again. He attempted to smuggle him unnoticed, but his crying alerted us to his presence. Louis told me that his girlfriend had refused to agree with my idea and had forced him to take the baby home with him. When he came back from the baby's mother's on Monday, Alex and I told him in no uncertain terms that if he brought the baby here again, he would no longer be welcome. We both work shifts, so sometimes we don't get back until 4 or 5 in the morning, and we need to sleep. At first, Louis refused to respect this and argued, but he has since reluctantly agreed and told his girlfriend that their son is unwelcome here. His girlfriend wasn't happy with us and is taking it out on him. I know that they are young, exhausted, and stressed all the time, so I feel bad for making Louis's life even harder. But his burden quickly became our burden too, and that was not something I nor my housemate agreed to. I feel like if we had had a chance to come to an agreement before the baby actually arrived, maybe this would have been easier. But Louis never spoke to me about it. Am I the a-hole? Edited to Ed. We never thought that him living here would be a long-term solution. His girlfriend's father tried to set them up with a flat before the due date, but that fell through. We tried speaking with our mother about charging him rent, but she refused to let him move back in. Now for the top comments. No a-holes here. Your brother is young and I respect him for stepping up, but he does need to understand his child shouldn't be affecting your life. The only a-holes here are your parents who believe it's okay to kick out their minor child. I respect him too. We know of people who were made single parents at 18 because of similar situations. Yeah, I didn't expect my mother to stick to that. I always thought she'd let him back in. You really need to tell your parents that kicking out their minor child with zero support can actually be illegal in some states as child mistreatment, provided you are in the States. I hope you call CPS on your horrible parents. To Ed, I think you are in the UK. I think it's still illegal there. Not the a-hole. The actual a-holes in this situation are your parents. He's their child and their responsibility. And since they didn't teach him to know better than to knock up his girlfriend at 16, the baby's their responsibility too. It would be optimal if you and Alex could talk to him now and work out a solution to this. So Louis can still bring your nephew home sometimes, but not required. I will note that someone needs to help those kids with how to do childcare. If the baby smells rancid and if he's crying that much, there may be a medical issue. But if there is, it may or may not be solvable in a way that isn't just he'll grow out of it eventually. Babies should not smell rancid. Babies should smell delightful unless they just pooped, and then they should be cleaned and smell great again. They do know babies have to be washed, right? Yeah, sex education seems to be awful here. My mother knows 2 girls who had kids at 17, and now my brother has a son at 16. It's likely to be that this house is not baby-friendly. At his girlfriend's, they have loads of stuff to care for him. Here, we have nothing, so it's likely not the best environment. I have no idea what they do or don't know, to be honest. I have brought up the smell before, but he gets defensive. Not stay home. Louis and his girlfriend should have considered that termination or adoption would be more practical solutions, not to mention using contraception correctly, or getting the morning after pill if there was an issue. I hope he's being decent enough by having Louis live with him. The baby is not his problem. It is especially not his housemate's problem. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for favoring my daughter over my half-sister? Hi. So, quick context. My dad remarried when I, 40s female, was in my 20s, and had a daughter, Kaylee, with his wife, who also had 2 older kids. Around that time, I was setting up my family and had my older daughter, Charlotte, a couple months before Kaylee was born. I was not very involved in his family. We would talk a couple times a year, exchange Christmas cards, but I didn't really get close to Kaylee. A couple years ago, my dad passed away, and when Kaylee was 16, her mom also got sick and passed. My stepmother's other 2 kids were still in college/young adults when this happened, so I was approached to take care of Kaylee, as I was the most settled in life, had a house, job, and 2 kids. Truthfully, it wasn't something I really wanted to do, but she would have otherwise ended up in the system. My husband and I took her in and have always treated her the same as our daughters. She got an allowance, extracurriculars, and tutoring when necessary. The only issue was that we had 3 bedrooms. Charlotte was uncomfortable sharing with a stranger and chose to bunk with her younger sister, so Kaylee got a room to herself. My girls didn't complain and have always been welcoming to Kaylee. It was always planned that when Kaylee turned 18/graduated high school, she would go to her other siblings and perhaps attend college there. However, she asked to stay an extra year with us due to wanting to move in with her boyfriend here and needing to save up. We agreed, but decided to fix up our basement into an apartment for Charlotte so she and her sister would finally have their own space. When Kaylee found out about the apartment, she was upset that it had not been offered to her and her boyfriend. We discussed the room situation, and I thought it had been settled. However, she recently moved out suddenly, leaving only a note stating that we clearly didn't think of her as being part of the family. I feel pretty horrible, but I'm wondering if I was an a-hole. Not the a-hole. You took in a teenager you didn't want nor had an obligation to. She got her own room in your house, fed, clothed, schooled, and provided for. When she, on her own, decided she wanted to stay longer, you agreed. Making up a room/place in the basement is logical if your girls are growing and need some space from each other, and you suddenly have a prolonged house guest who had her own room. Your half-sister seems a little entitled, frankly. She's definitely entitled, but I hope Obi grants her some kind thoughts. Though Obi was more than good enough to her. Definitely not the a-hole and certainly did more than most would have. She was a teenager who lost her family quite suddenly and was shoved into another house where she didn't fit in. I can't imagine how that feels. Not the a-hole. You are under no obligation to take in a boyfriend. The apartment is not showing favorites. Kaylee needs to take on full responsibility if she wants to play house with her boyfriend. If she was your eldest daughter, I would say the same. No boyfriends in my house. Go ahead and thumbs down Reddit. My house, my rules. No boyfriends in my house. I would like to know when it became a requirement to house someone's boyfriend. Opie took in her half-sister who she didn't have a relationship with. Your children who would have had their own rooms now have to share. Your family made sacrifices for this girl that you truly didn't have to. Her sense of entitlement is a bit much. She is an adult. I know that I'm going to get downvoted for this, but Opie's allowed to choose her daughters over her half-sister. Although I really don't think that is what is happening in this situation. Kaylee needs the reminder that Opie's her sister, and at one point her guardian. Guardian and mother are not the same thing. Opie provided Kaylee with a home and made her feel like one of the family. However, feeling like one of the family does not mean feeling that your sister should treat you the same as their actual children. Those are different types of love. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Charlotte has shared a room for 2+ years with her younger sister to give Kaylee her own space. Kaylee was always planned to move out at/around 18, so I don't really see how Charlotte getting the downstairs apartment isn't fair. You were nice enough to take a stranger into your home, clothe, house, and feed them until a predetermined time. I'd call you saints instead of being ungrateful. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being angry with my husband and mother-in-law for choosing the name for our daughter? I, 28 female, and my husband, 28 male, are expecting our first child together. Our daughter's due date is approaching, and I'm feeling very nervous and anxious. My husband and I decided on naming our daughter Anne after my grandmother. I spent most of my childhood and teen years with my grandparents. I was extremely close with my grandmother, and was devastated when she passed away in 2016 from lung cancer. We live close to my grandfather and visit him on a daily basis, and it means so much to my grandfather that we are naming our daughter Anne. My mother-in-law and I are cordial when we get together. My husband is her only child, and she feels like since I stepped into his life, their relationship changed. He is still very close with her, but he doesn't visit often because of the pregnancy. Mother-in-law invited us over for a small dinner party, and I thought it was going to be a pleasant evening. When we sat down for dinner, my mother-in-law turns to me and says, "Your husband and I spoke this past week, and he told me that you were going to be changing her name to be after me." I could feel my anxiety level rising and said, "No, we were still planning on keeping her name to be Anne, right?" I gave my husband a look and he doesn't say anything. My mother-in-law makes a face and says, "Well, it seems like husband is not on board with her name." I finished eating and told husband that we were leaving. We get into the car and husband tries to apologize. I told him that I was angry with him for not discussing with me and even more upset with mother-in-law. Mother-in-law sent me a few text messages regarding my behavior that evening and hopes I will change my mind. Am I the a-hole for being angry with my husband and mother-in-law for choosing the name for our daughter? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I don't get why you're acting like they made a definitive choice. Your mother-in-law can say whatever stupid crap she wants. That doesn't mean you have to listen. I'm really disappointed by how your husband is behaving. This exactly. The baby hasn't arrived and the name isn't on the birth certificate. Therefore, Opie and husband can sit down and discuss things. Just because mother-in-law says whatever doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. Not the a-hole. It is completely unacceptable for your husband and a third party to decide anything about your child without consulting you. If you let this slide, in any way, I bet your mother-in-law will think she can run your life and decide how your child is raised too. Put your foot down as hard as you can. Quit reading this and do it now. You need to send a clear message to mother-in-law that you and husband are a couple and will make your own decisions and she cannot overrule you. You don't want this to be the start of many announcements of mother-in-law's changes in the future. Not the a-hole. Tell the nurses in the delivery room not to let your husband sign the birth certificate. Also, this may be the start of her bulldozing your husband. I suggest r/just no mother-in-law. Not the a-hole. You already agreed. Don't sign the birth certificate without the right name on it, and make your wishes known to the nurses ahead of time. Definitely going to be doing that. I'm worried that husband will try to tell them a different name while I'm in labor. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for getting offended at my husband's suggestion that I only take 2 weeks of maternity leave? I, 25 female, am currently 25 weeks pregnant with my husband, 34 male, and I's first child. We have been together for 5 years, married for almost 2. Baby is growing on track. We've already painted the nursery and my mother-in-law is excitedly planning the baby shower. I have a full-time office job while he has been working from home since the first lockdown. We were talking about our parental leaves and we agreed that we wouldn't take it simultaneously. We were good until I said, "Do you want to do 2 weeks first, then I do mine, then you do 6 weeks after?" I just stood silently staring at him for 5 minutes. I told him I think he's being ignorant and selfish. He said, "What? I don't know how long you need to recover." I don't even know why we're still talking about this. He works for an international company where they get 3 months paid paternity leave. Meanwhile, I work for a small business which only offers 6 to 8 weeks of unpaid maternity leave. He has been anticipating his paternity leave since I got pregnant because he sees it as an opportunity to seriously start looking for another job. He has been with the company for 9 years and has been feeling burnt out. Lately, his frustrations have been compounded by his new manager being difficult. I've been very supportive of his goal of finding a job where he can be fulfilled and appreciated as I can sense that he's not happy at his job anymore. He also said that his current company will be considering him for a better position once he gets back from his paternity leave, so that gets him kind of excited. We have a 6-figure income combined. I paid a mortgage while he takes care of the other bills. We have money in the bank, stocks, cars paid off. I don't think my maternity leave being unpaid is an issue because my savings could cover the 2 months that I wouldn't get a paycheck. I didn't talk to him after his remark. He went to play video games on his computer while I folded his clothes. I slept on the couch and still have not talked to him at breakfast. He tried talking to me as I was about to leave for work, but I just noped out of the house. I am upset that he doesn't think that I deserve to get some downtime after giving birth to recover and spend time with our kid. I feel like he thinks growing an entire human being inside your body and then having to push that baby out is not a big deal. Maybe because I never complain about anything. I do 90% of the chores around the house, even carrying laundry from our bedroom at the top floor down to the basement to get them washed, then back up the stairs to get them folded and put away. I feel like my in-laws are more concerned about my well-being than he is. My father-in-law even bought us a litter robot, so I won't have to clean after our cats. My family lives a few continents away, so I don't have a huge support system here. Not stay home. Your husband is woefully mistaken about what is possible during a paternity leave. First off, where I live, what you are getting doesn't even qualify for maternity leave. It's what's considered medically necessary leave to recover from childbirth. Is your husband even aware that he will be providing full-time care while he's off? Because it seems like he thinks this is a free vacation and not a responsibility. Absolutely. Well said. Is he prepared for the commitment a 2-week-old baby needs? Yes. They sleep all day, but come sunset? Wow. When do we tell him about the witching hour? There is no way a doctor will medically clear her for 6 weeks anyway, no matter how committed to baby care he is. I don't understand why he isn't taking his leave concurrently with hers. It is way easier to tag team overnights the first few weeks. We did this so that each of us got an unbroken 4+ hour stretch of sleep each. Not stay home. So you are the one who is going to push the baby through your V, but you only get 2 weeks to rest? And then is going to take 3 months of paternity leave and take that time to look for another job. Who is going to look after the baby and take care of the house while you work? It looks for a job and potentially goes on interviews. And why on earth are you folding his freaking clothes while he plays video games? You're going to be a single mother really quick. Not stay home. Does your husband think paternity leave is a vacation time for him? Who is going to be watching/taking care of your child during this time? He'll be playing video games and looking for jobs online while she does everything.
Update. My brother-in-law confessed feelings for me after I went wedding dress shopping with his fiancée. Original post. This just happened today. I'm pretty overwhelmed, so I'll start with some background. I've been with my husband for 5 years, and we've been married for 2. Since early on in our relationship, I've been great friends with his older brother, partially because I've always wanted a brother. When he started dating a girl about 2 years ago, I went out of my way to make sure she knew she had a friend in me if she wanted, since we're the only girls in the family. We're great friends now, and since they got engaged 3 months ago, I've been helping with wedding planning and was asked to be a bridesmaid. We went dress shopping today and had a blast. We went to brunch, had some mimosas, found a dress, and then went back to their house to celebrate. I ended up alone in the kitchen with my brother-in-law a bit after we got there, and he said he just had to tell me something before it kept eating at him. I was a little buzzed and confused, but was not at all expecting him to say what he did. I think I've had feelings for you for a few years, and I've never been able to tell you. I just needed to know if you ever felt the same. I completely froze and just shook my head. I told him that no, I've never thought about him in any way other than as a friend and a brother, and that I never would. Before he said anything else, I bolted back to his fiancée and the other girls there and very discreetly told her I got my period, wasn't feeling well, and would have someone come get me. I told her I'd come by soon for more wedding planning. She thought nothing of it, and I called my best friend to come get me. She dropped me off at home. My husband is working right now, and there is no question that I am going to tell him as soon as he gets home. But I just have no idea where to go from there. Do I tell his fiancée? Do I make him tell her? Do I leave it? Should I have my husband talk to him? Has anyone ever had something like this happen or have any advice? Anything is appreciated. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. One step at a time. You already plan to tell your husband. Your husband is your teammate, so decide together what to do. This is such a hard situation to be in. He put you in a weird place. You'd be betraying your brother-in-law's fiancée by not telling her. But if you do tell her, things in the family will get weird and divided. But that wouldn't be your fault. I'm mad he did this to you. What the heck did he think you were going to do? Leave his brother for him? Right before the wedding? I would reach out to the brother-in-law and chew him out. You're right, one step at a time. I think I'm trying to think 10 steps ahead because that's just who I am. And this is impossible to plan for because it's so messed up. My husband and I always say it's us against the problem. So of course I'll tell him immediately and we'll plan together. Talk to your husband first, because what if you tell her and he tries to flip it, saying you said those things? My comfort in this thought is that I believe my husband and I have a really strong and trusting relationship, and I don't think he would ever believe that. As soon as he gets home, I'll tell him. I'm just not going to do the whole "we need to talk about something when you get home" thing, because I know that would put a pit in his stomach, and I won't do that to him. Now for the first update. Thanks to everyone who helped calm my panicked mind after my original post. I didn't want to tell my husband we need to talk while he was still at work and make him panic. So having some reassurance from here was really helpful. I also noticed a lot of people asking for an update. So here it is, one that even I was shocked by as I lived it. It's not exactly the earth-shattering blow-up most people thought it would be. My husband came home and he immediately knew I had something on my mind. I explained the whole thing and he was livid at his brother. Thankfully, he gave me a hug and I broke down crying from distress. He assured me I did everything right and that it wasn't my fault. After that, he went to call his brother and tell him that he knew what happened and wanted to talk to him one-on-one. Well, it turns out that his brother and his fiancée were already on their way to our house to talk about it. As soon as the other girls left, not long after me, my brother-in-law confessed everything to his fiancée. First, she slapped him, deserved. But after, they talked and he promised her that his feelings for her were genuine. She told him he needed to apologize to me and his brother, and then they could go from there. So they came over. My brother-in-law and my husband went to talk privately while I talked with his fiancée. We both cried and talked for about an hour. I promised her I never had any feelings for him and had no idea he ever had feelings for me. Apparently, she had caught him gazing at me on a family vacation once and thought maybe he had some attraction to me. So while this sucked, she felt some relief that she wasn't crazy for thinking it. He admitted she was right and thinks his feelings at one point were rooted in jealousy that his younger brother was further in life than him, and he attributed that to me in some way. This was new to him as the older brother, and they hadn't compared themselves much growing up because they had vastly different paths. It was like comparing apples to oranges, but now there was some perceived competition on a similar playing field. The feelings had faded, but when she came home saying she found a dress, he felt an urge to come clean. He admitted he wished he had said it differently or worked through it with some help to understand what the feelings were before making this whole mess. I don't know about all that, but I guess I could understand it with a clear head. I mean, if the Oedipus complex can be a thing, then I can see him having some complex feelings that manifested as attraction, but didn't affect his love for his fiancée. This all happened in one night, and he was visibly distressed over it, so I'd find it hard to believe he could weave a whole story like that. I'm inclined to believe him. When my husband and his brother came back to the living room, my brother-in-law looked like a puppy who just got in trouble. He also looked a little roughed up, but I didn't question it. We all talked and he apologized to me for putting me in this position. Where it landed, their wedding is on hold privately while they figure out the next steps. Thankfully, nothing was booked, and no dates were sent out. We had gone wedding dress shopping just to get an idea, and it was just luck that she fell in love with the dress. They're going to couples therapy to decide if and how they can move past this. There is clear love between the two of them. Things will be tense, but I think he feels genuine remorse, and my potential sister-in-law says she holds no ill will against me. If they move forward, she'd still love to have me as a bridesmaid if I'm willing. My husband and his brother have some serious work to do on their relationship, and my friendship with my brother-in-law will never be the same again. But we'll see what happens from here. We also agreed to keep this between the four of us. They will be honest that they're doing some premarital counseling before setting dates or fully planning the wedding. I saw a lot of comments telling me to keep my mouth shut since no harm was done. While I guess I can see your point, I just couldn't imagine keeping something like this from my husband, especially if it came out later and he found out I withheld it. Trust is huge in our partnership, and even just omission feels like a betrayal of that. Sure, I knew this could blow up if I let it out, but that would be my brother-in-law's fault, not mine. He had all the control over telling me what he did. Thanks to everyone who helped me through that scary processing time alone. His explanation doesn't make sense to me. I'd understand him coming clean to his fiancée about having a harmless crush on his sister-in-law that faded with time, just to not keep anything from her. But him speaking to you first and asking if you reciprocate the feelings sounds like he was shooting his shot once and for all, but it didn't work out in his favor, so he changed the narrative. Because what else was he possibly trying to achieve? If the feelings he has for you are misguided jealousy that faded, wouldn't it be better if he said nothing at all to avoid straining his relationship with his brother? I just can't make sense of it. I can't believe that after confessing to you and his fiancée catching him checking you out privately, she's still willing to work it out with him. Well, that's on them to figure out, and I hope they do either way. Well, sounds like things have been addressed as best they can. Wedding is postponed, there have been throughout talks about his feelings for you, your brother-in-law and future sister-in-law will attend couples therapy. Might be worth going to couples therapy with your husband or individual therapy too if you feel you need it. I would suggest not being a bridesmaid in the wedding if it does happen. Best to keep this at arm's length, even if your future sister-in-law is understanding and supportive as you mentioned. Best of luck. It's difficult to navigate interpersonal conflicts like this, but it seems to be well managed so far. Thanks. My husband and I actually have a couple appointments a year with a couples therapist. We call it our maintenance check. This will likely come up, but I'm not terribly concerned about it from our relationship's point of view. Second update. I wanted to address a couple of common responses I've been seeing here and give another next day update. To everyone telling me not to tell anyone or to give him a mulligan, that was never an option for me. My husband and I are a team, and we don't keep secrets, only surprises. It's something we agreed on before getting married. If I didn't tell him and it came out later, it would be as good as me lying to his face. I did nothing wrong, and I know my husband would stand by me, so that just wasn't an option I was willing to consider. To all the claims that I'd be blowing up multiple families, I'm not the one who confessed feelings. He opened his can of worms, and it's not my responsibility to keep this secret. If this does blow up his relationship or his family, that's on him, not me. There were a lot of other common themes here, but those two were very prevalent, and I wanted to address them. For this small update, my husband actually called his brother today and asked if he wanted to go to one of their favorite bars to watch the game together. This is something pretty common for them, or for all of us, to do before all this. My brother-in-law was shocked but agreed. Shortly after, his fiancée called me and asked if she could come over while they were gone. She was honest and said it might be awkward, but we used to do this a lot, either doing some DIY projects together, working on a puzzle, or watching movies. She wanted to see if I'd be open to keeping this up as long as we were both comfortable while they work through their issues so our relationship doesn't deteriorate. It meant the world to me, and I said of course. All four of us agreed that they, brother-in-law and fiancé, would start seeing a couples therapist as soon as possible, and my brother-in-law would see one on his own. Until they get a better grasp of what his feelings were/are and their own plan, we won't all get together, and my brother-in-law and I will not be alone together. My potential sister-in-law is one of the most level-headed and kind-hearted people I've ever met. My brother-in-law used to have a lot of walls up that she naturally broke down, and this behavior is so out of character for him. His proposal to her was so well-planned and thoughtful, tailored to her down to the smallest detail. He picked her a new outfit, had a perfect ring, even made sure the blanket at the setting was her favorite color, a detail he planned intentionally, and he arranged to have her parents there, even though they live hours away. It's clear that he loves her. I truly don't think that even if I had said yes, he would have left her to be with me. Not that it would have ever been an option. I truly see a road forward for them and all of us. We're all committed to finding the best outcome for everyone involved. My marriage is solid, and we have our marriage maintenance couples therapy appointment coming up soon anyway, so we'll check in with an outside opinion. But I'm not worried. They're going to a consultation with a therapist from the same practice in just a couple of days. It obviously won't be a quick or smooth fix, as this was messed up, but I'm much more optimistic than many comments here, and I wanted to share. Girl, I think you're such a great person. I wish I had someone like you in my life. You and your husband being a team against all problems is relationship goals at its finest. You being so honest about this and managing through all this mess gives me the impression that you're a top-tier communicator. I wasn't always, but I've put in a lot of work, and so has my husband. It was actually part of our vows to always evolve together and communicate. It's a learned skill for sure, but the right partner makes it easier too. Future sister-in-law is pathetic for staying with that man. All I'm gonna say. I don't think it's pathetic to give something, even a messed up situation, a little extra time to decide whether to move forward. The way she's looking at it is that she can leave, and nobody would blame her, and she wouldn't blame herself. But she loves him, and for her own peace of mind, she wants to take a beat to more deeply understand the situation before deciding to stay or leave. She was planning a future with him, and if she just leaves immediately, she'll have a lot of inner turmoil to work through, and a lot of what-ifs. If she takes a few therapy sessions and decides to leave, she'll feel more confident in her decision. That's her choice to make. You may think it's pathetic, but it's what she decided was best for her. The story is kind of anticlimactic. Couldn't you add in a tiger or a sword fight? Here's a little more of a climax. Turns out, she had a physical attraction / little crush on a coworker at one point, about 8 months into their relationship. That's why she has a little more sympathy and is willing to try to work on it. She said it can happen without changing the fact that she loves him. Maybe the coworker was a spy or something to add drama? Kidding, but there was that slight development. Last story. My sister ruined my party. My sister is 30 and makes one bad decision after another. She dropped out of high school, got pregnant at 22 with a guy who was freshly out of jail, and posts on social media as a bear mama. But in reality, our mother is raising her child. She couldn't, or wouldn't, get a normal job, and did video chatting for a few years. I am 27 and I recently celebrated my birthday. She has this tendency to ruin everything. She was invited to the family dinner, and during that dinner, 2 days ago, she texted 2 people who were there, claiming she had slept with our neighbor's husband. She added that he was bad in bed and called his wife annoying, saying she planned to tell her. I very much doubt the neighbor slept with her. He is a very decent guy. I don't want to be mean, but my sister is overweight, posts on social media with her breasts almost entirely visible, and wears vulgar makeup. Regardless, she chose to make this claim right before my party, so everyone was talking about it instead of celebrating. Last year, she pulled a similar stunt. I got a promotion at work and she came home crying, claiming she was SA'd by her superior at work. I don't know if it's true, but the guy is 70 and was indeed flirty with her, grossly so in my opinion. I couldn't understand why she entertained him. When I told her to take care and stay away from him, she called me a prude. 6 months ago, my mother and I helped her find a place to stay. She moved to another city for work, and what did we hear? She tried to seduce her roommate's boyfriend, but the guy rejected her. I've distanced myself from her, but I'm close to my mother who loves her. Well, because she's her daughter, and that's normal, I guess. I also love my niece. My sister, however, cannot integrate into society. She's very conflictual, always aggressive, and every time something good happens in my life, she comes up with some super drama that has just happened to her. Either she's been SA'd or she slept with someone's man, though there's no proof for either. Go out to a restaurant with some friends to celebrate. Don't tell your mother or sister your plans. Leaving them out of the equation solves your problem entirely. And don't tell them about the next good thing you'd normally celebrate. Just go have a good time with friends. Stop sharing your personal info with them at all. I will stop doing it, but I really do wonder, what were the chances that she didn't get triggered? When our cousin posted a very beautiful picture on social media wearing a nice long dress, 5 minutes after watching her story, my sister said out of nowhere how she slept with a man who was having his wedding the next day. I was like, what? I don't understand why you let the stupidity get to you. The statements are so ridiculous and outlandish, I wouldn't even care. I would literally get to the point where I don't even hear it anymore. She's not actively trying to ruin your life. Stop letting these stupid statements bother you.
Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom? Original post. So, I, female 22, have an older sister, female 28, who has 4 kids. She loves being a mom and wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I encourage her to do whatever she wants. She understands that I have no desire to be a mom right now, if ever. I have 2 other older sisters who, like me, don't want to be stay-at-home mothers. This is important to the story. Her boyfriend, male 27, is mad at me because he asked when I was going to settle down and offered to introduce me to his friend, male 25, who wants a stay-at-home wife. I told him no, that I don't want to date anyone this year, and he got mad for some reason and asked why. I told him my ex-boyfriend left me with trust issues. My ex cheated on me 6 months into a 3-year relationship. He told me we broke up in 2023 and that I should start getting back out there. I told him it wasn't his business, and he dropped it. But 2 days ago, he asked me if I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. I told him no, that I don't, and that I'm not even sure if I want kids, let alone to be married. He got defensive since his mom was a stay-at-home wife and mother. I told him I don't see anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but I personally don't want to depend on a man for anything. He once again got defensive and said, not all men are the same. I told him he was correct, but again, not all women want the same thing. He said my sister wants to be a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I told him congratulations on finding that with my sister, but that I, once again, don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. He got mad because he overheard my conversation about getting an IUD and told me I was ruining God's plan to make me a mom one day. I told him whether I want kids or not. It's not his business. He got mad at me and told me to get out of his home. So I did. My older sister is asking me to apologize to him and not to get an IUD since if I get pregnant, it's God's plan. She also told me I should reconsider being a stay-at-home mom/wife. I told her not everyone has that dream, and she accused me of not respecting stay-at-home mothers/wives, which is completely untrue. My 2 other older sisters are on my side and said my sister's boyfriend shouldn't be so concerned with how I live my life. They said that if I don't want to depend on anyone for the rest of my life, that's my choice. He also said I'm going to hell for being bisexual. So I screamed, I guess your girlfriend, my sister, is also going to hell because she's bisexual herself, which he already knows about. Now their friends are calling me an a-hole, saying he only cares about what I do with my body because it's God's body, and I should respect it and become a mom soon. So, am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home wife/mom? Edit to clarify, I get asked this question a lot, about why I was discussing getting an IUD to my sister's boyfriend. I wasn't discussing it to him. Me and my 3 sisters were all discussing it at his house, but he wasn't there. He walked in though when I said I was thinking of getting an IUD, and that's when he butted into the conversation. And as soon as he said God's body, not my body, me and my 2 other sisters started talking to him about it. And he raised his voice, so I raised mine, and we eventually left since I don't like conflict at all. Now for the top comments before reading the updates.
This guy sounds like a creep. Who is he to dictate what you do with your life, your career, and your body? I hope your sister knows about this and supports you, not the a-hole. My sister, who is with him, wholeheartedly supports him and thinks I should be a stay-at-home mom. She wants me to apologize to keep the damn peace, but I told her I'm done keeping the peace. He also supports the abortion ban, which is his opinion. He wants a national abortion ban, even for rape and incest, which makes me nervous to be in a room with him. She also supports this. Not the a-hole. His views on stay-at-home moms and traditional gender roles are his own, and he shouldn't be imposing them on you. So many red flags here. Not the a-hole. To add a bit of fun and flair to your arguments, since they keep bringing up God in all of this, feel free to point out that boyfriend is not husband and, in God's eyes, they are living in sin, and all those lovely children are illegitimate bastards. That should bring about a whole bucket of fun right there. Also, be sure to point out your sister's boyfriend's obsession with your body and what you're doing with it. Does he perchance want that body for himself? And since he can't have it, he's using his girlfriend as a surrogate? There are some serious issues here, but none of them are your problem. As a side note, being petty with biblical technicalities can be a total hoot. You obviously love your sister if you're putting up with this guy's BS, but I'd be going low or no contact after that nonsense. 3 out of her 4 kids aren't even his. She is pregnant, about to give birth at the end of this month. Now for the first update. I already knew I was going to go no contact with my sister's boyfriend, as I don't feel safe around him. But I went ahead and called my sister to tell her and explain why I chose no contact with him. She is now super mad at me, saying I overreacted and all that fun stuff. So I asked her if they were going to apologize, and she said they don't owe me an apology. I owe him an apology. He overheard us on the phone and once again got into the conversation. I told him I had nothing to say to him. He said he wanted answers to 2 of his questions. 1, why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I told him it's none of his business and to stay in his lane. 2, why I don't want to date/marry his friend. I told him that he isn't my type and never will be, and to not talk to me again. He told me that if I didn't stop overreacting, I wouldn't have anything to do with my nephews and niece. And not gonna lie, that got to me. I told him that for my mental health, I was done talking to him. My sister said, okay, you made your choice, and we will make ours. So now I'm no contact with both of them. Also, I've found out my dad learned about everything yesterday. This morning, after I was on the phone with them, he went over and yelled at Josh, telling him to back off, and that his daughter wasn't for sale or anything like that. Apparently, they got into a fist fight, and according to what I've heard, my dad won, though I'm not totally sure about that. My dad later called me, apologized, and asked me personally why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. So I told him the reason, which had to do with him and my stepmom, and he apologized again, saying he never meant to do that to her. For context, he was very abusive to her. At one point I saw him choke her, screamed, and he let her go, but he never apologized for it. So I decided to cut off my sister and her boyfriend, which sucks because I won't be able to see my niece and nephews anymore. But my mental and physical health is more important to me, to be honest. Edit. There is one more thing that was said that I forgot to mention. In my last post, a lot of people suggested that I ask him when he's going to marry my sister, since they are not living according to God's plan. So I asked him. His response was, "It's not your business to know." To which I said, then it's not your business to know anything about what I do with my body, who I date, and all that. He got angry with me and proceeded to cuss me out. I honestly just laughed. Not the a-hole. I hope you eventually date someone who would never harm you in any way. Your dad and brother-in-law come from the same tribe. I hope so too. I was in an abusive relationship from 17 to 21, and my family and friends told me not to date him, and I did anyways. Finally, I decided to end it when he put me in the hospital for almost a week. Your sister is with a man that is able to get into a fist fight with her father? Yes, apparently. Not gonna lie though, my dad wasn't always a great father. He was abusive to all of us, especially my older brother, who is 30 years old.
But he's changed and got help for his anger and all that. He's always been an amazing grandpa, but I'm sure after what happened with my sister's boyfriend, they will cut him off too. We all never liked her boyfriend, my dad especially. Got help for his anger. Good thing he didn't totally lose his anger because her boyfriend totally deserved what he got. Maybe he'll think twice before mouthing off. Unfortunately, he's probably going to take it out on your sister. You are not the a-hole for wanting to distance yourself from chaos. Thank you. Not gonna lie, I thought I would be, since I won't be able to see my niece and nephews. But when they are old enough, and if they want to see me, I'll gladly take it. Your sister's man has a thing for you. He's obsessing over your unwillingness to be the way he wants you to be because he was hoping to trade your sister in for the younger child-free version of her. Dude is deluded, and I would set up security cameras in your home. Sorry about your niece and nephews, not the a-hole. Now for the last update. Sorry I didn't give an update sooner. I had a lot going on. My 2 other older sisters sat down with our sister, and the 3 of them talked about why I wanted nothing to do with her and her boyfriend anymore. She admitted she might have lost herself when she got with her boyfriend, and that she wants to apologize to me, but she also wants me to apologize to him as well. My sisters told her I don't owe him an apology or an explanation. She got mad and said she wants nothing to do with me if I can't be the bigger person like she is and apologize. I told her that's fine. My 2 other sisters suggested family therapy, and I told them no. I haven't seen my sister or her boyfriend in a month, and I'm currently living full-time with my aunt, helping her with her medical issues. I don't have the time or energy to go to family therapy, even if I wanted to. I did end up in the hospital recently because of a car accident. My best friend was driving at night and almost hit a deer. Luckily, we crashed into a tree instead, and I only ended up with a broken leg. I can't walk until it heals. My 2 other sisters found out and lectured us though. None of us were drunk. We had just gone to IHOP for some breakfast for dinner, and on the way back, we got into the accident. But other than that, nothing really happened with my sister and her boyfriend. I finally cut off contact a month ago for good. It sucks because of my niece and nephews, but I need to protect myself from people like them. I decided to make them all Gmail accounts and email them every day since cutting off contact. And when they turn 18, I plan to give them their emails so they can read everything. I love them, but I need to love myself more. It honestly sounds selfish, but I've been going to therapy, and my therapist is helping me cope with losing them. I fully accepted that I never want to be a mother. It's hard, but I don't think the mother life is for me. My 2 other sisters are upset because they really wanted me to have kids, but they also respect my choice not to. Like I said, nothing much has happened since I cut off contact with my sister and her boyfriend. I did delete my Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger accounts because they weren't good for my mental health, and my sister could easily contact me that way. Honestly, I'm just living life and taking things one day at a time lately. But that's it. I wish you all good luck in life, and thank you for all the advice. I really appreciate it. Edit. My sister gave birth to another boy. She wanted me at the hospital, but I said no. It was a hard decision, but I think I made the right choice for my mental health. My mental health isn't in a great place, but it's better than it was 2 months ago. Also, I'm thinking about saving money and moving to a small town in a different state to start over completely. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé that her sister can't stay with us going forward? For context, my fiancé's mother and sister, 30, are devout Hindus, while I'm Christian. Their family is dysfunctional. The parents are separated but live in the same house. The sister resents their father, constantly fights with him, and refuses to move out despite owning a house he bought for her. She stays home to avoid spending money, saving 95% of her income while their mother enables her. The real trouble started when my fiancé, her mother, and her sister visited the temple twice. The first time, a temple person told them I would end up with another woman. They believed it blindly. The second time, this same person claimed I was gay. Afterward, they called my mother, saying they wanted to sell everything and get their money back. Following this, I asked my fiancé to limit their visits to our place. They were coming over 3 to 4 times a week, which was excessive.
I value my privacy and want time alone with my fiancé. Then came my birthday party. My fiancé's mother invited their father hoping to mend things. During dinner, he made a joke and the sister lost it. She stormed out, went home, and destroyed his garden. He threatened to call the cops, and I don't blame him. She has serious anger issues. The next week, their mother left for an overseas trip, leaving the sister home alone. She initially asked if she could work from our place, which I suspected was an excuse to stay over. Sure enough, when the time came, she guilt-tripped my fiancé into letting her stay for a full week. At that point, I put my foot down. I told my fiancé that her sister couldn't stay. After what she pulled with the temple visits and her general behavior, I didn't want her in my home. I also like my space. I walk around in my boxers, unwind, and don't want to feel uncomfortable in my own house. My parents also agreed that she shouldn't stay with us when she has her own home. A few weeks later, my fiancé finally told her sister she couldn't stay over anymore. She completely lost it, texting my mom to keep her big nose out of our business and telling me to keep the hell away from my dog. They have a Jack Russell I love. Now she's acting like a child and refuses to attend our wedding, despite being the maid of honor. She keeps messaging my fiancé, though I don't know what she's saying. My fiancé now wants me to apologize, but I don't feel I did anything wrong. Am I the a-hole? What should I do? Not the a-hole, but you should know that these problems will likely never go away and will potentially escalate as you get more intertwined with these people. When you marry someone, you marry their family. I truly wish you well, but this seems like a complicated equation. These problems will get worse, especially when adding kids to the equation. Yep, it is going to be a wild ride when you have kids, OP. Your fiancé needs to shine her spine and start laying boundaries with her family. The excessive visiting and basic disrespect you've been shown through many of these different actions, something needs to change. Their actions are way over the top. If they are visiting this much and staying over this much now, it will be worse when you guys have a little one and are trying to bond as a family. Once you commit your life and your heart to another person, that person becomes your immediate family. Your nuclear family will be your wife and any children you may have. Even parents and siblings become extended family once you have created your own nuclear family. I'd take your fiancé and potentially get some counseling to help you both make the marriage work. Honestly, if my husband had gone to a temple of any religion, we are Christian, I'm Methodist, and he's Catholic, and came home convinced we weren't going to make it because some crazy lady at the temple told him I would end up with another man, I'd have very big apprehensions about marrying that person. You're totally not the a-hole. I wish you the best. Not the a-hole, but please stop ignoring all the red flags this woman is waving in front of you. She is very attached to her family, believes everything that comes out of their mouths, and always defends them even when they're wrong. This will not change or get better as time goes on. If you do not want to deal with this for the rest of your life, I suggest that you rethink this relationship.